Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, welcome back to the Gonzo Ewok channel with me, Gonzo.
Me, Ewok.
For another episode of
Geordie Space Program!
Ewok,
Yes?
I'm excited. You know why I'm excited?
Why are you excited?
Because I've got that Friday feeling. Time of recording, Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon.
Just finished work. Brilliant. There we go. Beers on the go as well.
Beers on the go.
Fingers crossed that isn't a precursor to something terrible happening, but...
Sunny weather, beers on the go. Let's skip the morning.
Feeling good. Bring that sun up.
Right, I've been doing some work. I've been doing some practicing.
Aye, that's another thing. You actually bothered your backside over the past couple of weeks since we recorded to do some practice.
Past week I've been playing Kerbal Space Program pretty hard. Now those of you who watched our last episode will have seen the, what did I call it, the big wobbly ship of doom or something that like totally went
last
to
episode, that was horrific.
This is the same ship. It's just not fucked.
That's always a bonus. Always a bonus.
It's the same ship. It's just not fucked.
How have you unfucked this then?
Well, the big problem, the main problem was this bad boy, the SAS module.
Right.
We kind of hid it a bit by using a bit of off-center, and by doing that, we seemed to have broke the game. It clipped a bit, and it seemed to break the game, which made the ship shake uncontrollably and go out of control.
At one point, the cockpits at the top there were just kind of off, like completely off. Still somehow attached, but completely off all the same.
Now I've had a little bit of tweaking. I think I've shifted the motor prop stuff around a bit just to make it a little bit easier. What? Who's ringing me? Who's ringing me during recording? Unknown number. Right.
PPI bastards.
I don't know if I changed the stuff inside the cockpit. I'm not sure. I did this a few days ago, but it's pretty much the same shit.
And you're quite confident this works.
I'm pretty confident this works.
Are those radiators we've got on there as well?
Yeah, I stuck some radiators on because I don't believe it had updated to 1.04 before we played last time. 1.04 adds radiator parts, but also makes them more necessary because heat builds up, heat dissipates incredibly slowly in space. So I stuck radiators on. As it turns out in my experimentations from the last few days, you generally don't need them, certainly not for a short hop like we're going to be doing. Maybe for a space station or something like that, but hey ho, they're on there and this ship works, so I'm just going to roll with it if that's alright.
Looks nice. I haven't even seen these parts since the game got its last update. It did actually break our save when the update first happened, didn't it? When 1.3 came out, it screwed our save, which made it put a dampener on things, but then hotfix came out, 1.04.
Within 24 hours it fixed it, which was great. The problem was the ship that we had in orbit became uncontrollable. It's got Jeb and Bob on board, and it meant that you couldn't EVA them from the ship, and you couldn't get near the ship to grab it and pick it up, because if you got within 5 kilometers of it, the game just froze.
No, that's, well, yeah, I mean, and let's make no bones, we probably haven't explained the mission. If this is the first time you watched it or you didn't see the last one,
yeah, we're going to go get them. We're going to go get Bill and
those
Bill
boys back. Do you want to hop into the tracking station and quickly show off where they are?
Absolutely. So this is Bill and Bob here in this sort of polar almost orbit of the planet.
We were pushing for a polar orbit.
That's as far as we got with the last ship before it ran out of fuel. Primarily due to the horrendous ascent we had when it became uncontrollable because of the parts clipping. I'm going to do something different this time. I'm going to go do a polar orbit from here and then correct it from here. A little thing called the Oberth effect means it's easier to get into a sort of equatorial orbit by using the planet's rotation. However, since I've been experimenting over the last few days, I found out that while that is in fact the case, it doesn't offset the large amount of fuel you use doing a plane change. Now, even though I'm going to get a polar orbit, we're going to be taking off from Kerbal Space Center, which means our polar orbit's going to be sort of vertical to where you're looking now on the planet, vertical down the middle. So we've still going to have a long way to go in order to get matched with the guys in the two-man Explorer.
I see what you're saying.
But that's the best you can do because we can't get that orbit from launch because the centre point of Kerbal Space Program is going to be part of our orbit. But hey ho, that's all that. Let's just get going.
Do you know what I think's really impressive?
What's that?
After 3 series and an abandoned mini-series, I think possibly got to be 60-70 episodes of Geordie Space Program now. The Oberth effect comes into play. We've learned something.
Actually, there's something I need to do before we do this. So let's quickly nip back in the Space Centre. I need to see what way they're rotating. I need to see if they're going sort of north over from KSP or
uppy downy or downy uppy.
Uppy downy or downy uppy. So if I just warp to see where they go, right, they're going up, so we need to burn northerly.
North, aye.
In fact, the Oberth effect will come into principle, because you'll see I will burn pure north, but when we come into orbit, we'll have a slight easterly twinge, even though I'll have burned
I see
pure
what you're
north.
saying, because the planet's spinning that way.
Because the planet's spinning, and that's the Oberth effect taking effect. I've also learned something new, which I think is going to be really, really beneficial to us. I didn't know this existed.
Looks wobbly as all hell, mind.
It does, but it's fine. You see, below the left-hand side, where the list of the different stages are,
yeah.
There's a green flashy button called Stage.
Yeah, I can see it flashing.
If I hold down Alt and press N, it'll turn orange.
Right.
That means that staging is locked, so I can't accidentally press space and fuck something up.
Nice.
So as soon as we're done with the initial launch procedure, I get to lock the stages.
That's very handy indeed.
I'll tell you what, this isn't the same design at all, because I did something. I've got rid of the solid fuel boosters, replaced them with liquid.
Nice.
And put on an asparagus staging effect.
Nice. I thought that looked a bit different. I couldn't remember we're having all them fuel lines kicking around.
I'll not do the sort of ins and outs of asparagus staging here, because that'd take a while to explain. But what I will do is I'll put up a Kerbal short talking about how you can build your own
something
asparagus
massive with lots of things
asparagus stage design. Well, I was just going to do something simple, but
make it big.
Right, let's launch this bad boy.
We've talked enough. Right.
Boom.
Go now. Always sounds a bit like going out every time I say go now. Alright.
Right, so we want to burn towards the north, and that is south that I'm going, so let's just pull that way. Just a little bit of a hiccup to start with.
It's what you'd call, in rally driving terms, the Scandinavian flick. Just kind of turn like in the opposite direction and then swing your back end out. Excellent idea.
So here we go, nice and smooth. I'm going to get up to around about 150 meters a second, and then I'm going to slow that acceleration right down so that we don't push through the sound barrier and cause ourselves some problems.
While we're ascending here, do you know much more about Oberth or the Oberth effect?
Well, I know a little bit, but I get the feeling that you're going to school me.
Oh, I like to school people.
Off you go, mate. I'll have a sip of beer while you talk to the boys and girls
keep an eye on the rocket. So, the Oberth effect was invented by a scientist called Jimmy Oberth.
Fuck's sake.
And
it wasn't.
Jimmy Oberth, as well as inventing the Oberth effect, which is all about the planet spinning and whatnot, he also had the largest collection of spoons in Western Europe.
Brilliant.
Aye, so spoon collector and maths space.
Let me interrupt here. We're going to lose this stage a second. Do you know how our rocket kept blowing up?
Aye.
Point towards the apoapsis and then drop it.
Oh, that's handy. Aye, so that they actually fall directly away.
They actually fall in away, yeah, because they're always going to fall going apoapsis. So if your ship's not pointed towards the apoapsis, when you drop them, they're going to collide into your ship.
Jesus, we are learning so much in this episode. We've actually probably made the most progress.
Like I say,
all series is
I've
on
been
this one.
Hitting the books hard in the last few days, which, you know, considering the hours that we've got under the belt,
and the amount of times
program,
we said we were going to do that and never bothered. Champion. Yeah, I'm liking this. It looks nice.
It does. It's a nice little rocket.
Ah, yeah, that's good.
It's good against the side there.
I mean,
I thought I'd warp till the morning. Oh yeah, I warped till the morning, but then I zoomed forward so I could see how the how the orbit was going. So we lost a bit of daylight.
It's good enough.
Good enough. That's my catchphrase. Good enough.
Yeah. Rocket still looks somewhat penile, but it's very hard to make a rocket that doesn't.
And that is true. I've got some other rocket designs that I've been messing around with that I'm planning to try and recreate in our Geordie Space Program.
Jesus H Christ!
Once we've moved a little bit further forward and we've got these boys home, so I'm looking forward to trying those designs out as well.
So the plan is, of course, if people can't remember this, Jeb and Bob sitting up in space, they got stuck there because they went out and collected science from around the sun.
So, a shed load of science.
Yeah, there's a lot of science there, which is kind of another reason to bring it back. Not just getting the red coats back home, which is, for me, first and foremost, I'm a people person, I'm a Kerbal person, I want to see them people come home.
I've just thought of a problem. We'll discuss it when we get into orbit.
What do you mean?
We'll discuss it when we get into orbit. You keep going, mate.
What I'm going to say is this bottle of beer is a big one, and it's still full, so it's got some heft to it.
That's alright, you just keep going. It's fine. Trust me, it's fine. There's no problem here.
There's Jimmy Oberth fucked with.
Jimmy Oberth hasn't fucked with. This isn't Jimmy's fault.
Right.
So you carry on with your story. When we get into orbit, we'll talk about what the problem is with this current mission.
There's no more story now. I'm paralysed with fear.
Oh well, this is a two-man rescue mission. I've got a pilot in there. I don't need a pilot in there because there's a friggin' autopilot system on this. What I'm going to do is when we get into orbit, I'm going to ditch Merg and leave her in orbit. We'll come back for her later. But she's...
Oh my god, right. So, we go up, we take 2 steps forward and saving these guys. Touch and go.
Two steps forward, 1 step back.
1 step back. It's still a step forward. Merg is wearing a white coat, so she isn't as important.
She's not, and she doesn't have any science, and those guys have got the science.
Aye.
So we'll bring them back, we'll leave Merg, we'll pick her up another time. We'll pick her up, we'll not do a rescue mission for her, we can pick her up as part of doing another mission.
Should we not just get rid of her now?
No, because she'll die if she jumps out now.
She's going to float around in space for the next fortnight at least, so... I mean...
Apparently, if you drop a Kerbal from any height... Actually, no, it won't work because she'll burn up in the atmosphere. If you drop a Kerbal from any height and they don't burn up in the atmosphere and land on their helmet, they survive.
I want to see a living firework.
No, we're going to save Merg, but we're going to save her a different day, and as I say, we'll do it as part of a different mission, so that we don't actually have to waste an entire episode going to rescue her.
I never liked Merg.
Merg has been to Minmus and gathered loads of science and rescued Penny Creon.
Ah, well,
Oh no, Merg didn't rescue Penny Creon. Penny Creon died.
Yeah, along with Valentina. Which was a crying shame.
My ascent hasn't been optimal here, so we're going to use a little bit more fuel than I would hope for as we manage our orbit.
That's quite a burn.
Yeah, it is quite a burn, but don't worry, we've got an entire other stage.
Nice.
And it's quite a beastly stage. It's got 3 fuel tanks on it, mate. Actually, it's got 2 fuel tanks on it, but it's more than enough to correct the inclination and get where we need to be.
How much does this rocket cost? I didn't look at the price tag.
99,000.
Well, we need the science.
It'll be worth it. Once we've got that science back, we can use it to buy stuff that we can then take on more lucrative contracts with and make the money back.
And we've got plans for that as well, based on some of you playing around as well. I'm reliably informed.
Absolutely, I've got some designs that'll probably take us a little bit further forward into the tech tree that I've been messing around with. But I've got a decent Mun and Minmus lander design, a nice, really cheap satellite design. It costs about 10 grand. And it can get the Mun or Minmus and get an orbital position, polar, equatorial, wherever you need. So we can fulfill those satellite contracts. And we can also keep it around there and beam back science whenever there's a mission to get science from there.
I'm liking it.
I was also experimenting with a design that takes 2 Kerbals to the Mun or Minmus, and then the top compartment pops off. Right. And then you can use EVA propellant to land it down, and then they'll stay there, and they've got a little communicator. And then if you ever need to plant a flag on Mun, or plant a flag on Minmus, or get science from the surface of...
I mean, it's a bit cheap, but it'll do the trick, and really...
the sponsors want it. The sponsors want the science data. They don't care how you get it.
We're not corporate shills. We're not just in this for the contracts, although they're very handy.
I think it's kind of... It's good. It's sensible. It's using the options that we've got to make the most cost-effective decisions, and that's what it's all about, really.
Well, says you.
Right, so here we go. We've got an orbit. That means, see you, Merg. You're not needed anymore.
Get out.
What I'll do is I'll just take her a little bit further away from the ship, so that when we zoom off, when I'm gonna.
Is that to protect her or to protect the ship?
That's to protect her from the ship.
Oh.
So, there we go. Merg is in orbit now. Thank you, Merg. As I say, the ship's fully automated. It doesn't need a bloody pilot.
Could Merg not aerobrake using the protective force of her helmet?
No.
Oh.
Doesn't work that way.
That's a shame.
Right, my next stage now is to get the Apoapsis out to the same sort of level as the 2-man Explorer is.
Nice.
I didn't mean to switch to it there, so let's just quickly switch back. The reason for that is, the further out you are from the planet, the more fuel efficient it is when you come to do your inclination change.
Clever.
So it's better to get the
Get your distance and then get your
get your distance and then do your correction.
Jesus Christ, you're schooling me now. Never mind my tales of Jimmy Oberth and his spoons.
I've done it again. I'm schooling you, you say, with the knowledge, but I'm just fucking pressing all the wrong buttons.
While you're there, you could check to see how far they're out, so you know how far it's kind of.
Well, I'm going to be setting it as the target, so I'd be able to see from there. So set as target.
Hello, Jeb.
So we've got.
Hello, Bob.
Between 1.5 and 1.8, so let's sort of bang it out around about the 1.5 mark then.
Alright. Can you see it?
Actually, we're going around this way, so we'll do it from this side, just to save a bit of time for the ladies and gentlemen at home. Add manoeuvre. Oh no, we don't want to do it there. I am the biggest ass.
Yeah.
Which way around are we going? There we go. So we'll bring it here, we'll push it on the ascending node. Add manoeuvre.
Smart.
Bang it down. Oh, we've actually got an intercept there. I mean, it's 4.5.
Yeah, and we
4.5 kilometre, 1,000 kilometres away.
And we'd come whootling round. The word's back. I never use that word in casual conversation until we load up Kerbal Space Program, but we would come flying around at a 90-degree angle, thus running an infinitesimally small chance of T-boning them in space.
That would be epic, though, if we managed
it. It would be amazing if we could. Right, here you go, the most convoluted tactical strike on the right-hand side of a ship.
I'd like to see Scott Manley do that. Do an orbital smash.
We'll tell him. We'll bribe him about those photographs we found of him.
Can I walk to the next manoeuvre node, please? I've no idea how long this is going to take, but it shouldn't be that long.
Aye.
And we still have the second fuel reserve. This is the orbital stage. So the orbital stage is done as well. We've still got a little bit left over.
It's nice on this this particular inclination. We've got the sun's always shining on the rocket,
which is handy when it's
nice.
When it's a remote controlled rocket that relies on those piddly little solar panels.
I was just thinking it always looks nice because you can see what's going on. I'm mainly in here for the pretty pictures and the lights.
What the frig just happened there when I did the burn? It totally moved our burn point away. Our target node. That's not right. Sorry, there's some sort of crazy shizness going on, so let's just unset everything, get rid of the wonky manoeuvre node that's gone to piss, and we're just gonna burn prograde.
Alright.
Doing it by hand. That was a bit funny, wasn't it?
It was a bit strange. It was. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, for all you get these little weird quirks, some of which will be sciencey stuff we just don't understand. A lot of it could also be what's happening in the game as well.
Bugginess.
But it's one of them things. It's like, you know, when we were talking in one of the podcasts about things like Fallout and Skyrim, when you've got something that's that big, that complex, that much stuff happening at once.
You don't get much more complex than Kerbal Space Program.
Exactly, it's astrophysics. The fact that it actually even remotely resembles, you know, space stuff is incredible in its own right. The fact that you can model that, you know, in an artificial environment is incredible.
Right, so we're going to push this out to 1.5.
I'll tell you something else as well. Currently, if you guys live in the northeast and you weren't aware of this, the Life Centre in Newcastle currently has the Game On exhibition going on.
Yes, I saw that. I was really interested.
I was there yesterday because of the conference that I was at through work, that I was doing a speech at yesterday, was at the Centre for Life, and it got a free entry into the exhibition.
I've been quite interested in it.
Really, really good. Really good. I mean, I'll say they've got they've got some new stuff. Like I got my first ever hands on the Oculus Rift. They had an Oculus Rift there with a game that I couldn't identify, but it was a fast, almost like Wipeout, but on tubes. Using the Oculus, the first time I've ever gotten to play one, and that was incredible. It was great putting some of my co-workers on them and just watching them nearly fall over and just not understand. Somebody was nearly motion sick.
That sounds epic.
A guy that I work quite closely with, I get on well with, he nearly tipped over. I had to nearly catch him as he kind of rocked back because he just couldn't cope with what was going on. Really, really good. Really
I've seen
impressed.
people playing on the Oculus Rift, and they've always said it was immense. They had one at LAN a couple of years back, and I never got the chance to play on it myself.
Well, this one that I was playing, almost if you imagine like the Elite cockpit, you know, that idea where you can look around in your cockpit.
I believe Elite's Rift compatible.
Yeah, I've seen people do it and it looks incredible. That's kind of the thing that's got it on my radar for thinking.
Team Fortress 2 is, of all things.
Well, I can imagine like shooters would work quite well for it, but in any event, this game that I was playing, it was similar to Elite in that you can, like, you've got your cockpit, you can see your body, and I've basically convinced work that I'm an absolute nut job because I looked down when I was using it myself and just went, Jesus, I can see me legs!
You couldn't do that in real life.
And even though I had the thing on so I couldn't see them, I knew I was being stared at, and sure enough, when I took it off, there was kind of looks like that's a very strange thing to shout in a public space. But, so they had that on, but the nice thing is they had a lot of like the old school, like they had, I got my hands on a Famicom, I was playing with like an original Famicom, that was really good fun. The 3D version of Outrun, that was really good, you know, for very primitive stuff. Played like a dream.
If you're even remotely interested, I'm now going to try and correct our inclination.
You do that, you keep doing the sciencey stuff. But yeah, I got to play that. I got to play the very original Mario Brothers before Super Mario Brothers. You know, where it was still kind of like you run around and you jump underneath the platforms to knock the turtles over.
I do. Can I jump back in with some sciencey stuff here?
Please do.
Right, you know how we've been having problems when we try and correct our inclination and we give it the old bit of that and it just shoots out into space.
Uh-huh.
I found that freehanding the inclination is a lot more easy to do. What this seems to do is just keep pushing you towards that normal point, normal and anti-normal. It pushes you towards the normal.
Right.
But as you start to burn towards normal on your nav ball, you'll find that it moves.
Oh, of course it will do, because you're carrying through the orbit. Aye, that makes sense.
I don't believe the maneuver nodes take that into account, which is why it goes wonky immediately.
So technically that wouldn't mean we're going to shoot off. It's just, it's thinking if you burned all of that delta V at that precise second, from that point, that's what would happen. But that's actually not what happens in reality, right? Okay.
So really, all I want to establish here that in order to get it right, that's taking it towards it, so it's going to be a burn on normal. So move ourselves to the normal axis to make the burn, and then when we get close to this point of hitting the node, then we'll start making our move.
Sensible. See, once it's explained, it makes so much sense. And wait. Okay, I've watched many videos of people who can play Kerbal Space Program explaining this to us. Maybe I just don't pay attention to them like I do with you. But yeah, now that you've explained that, that makes a huge amount of sense.
So we're just in front of it, yeah, so if I start burning now, you'll start seeing that move in the direction that we want it to go.
Nice.
Which will be sweet.
Burny.
You can see it's already starting to move on that nav ball away from the point that we're burning on.
How are we doing for fuel?
The fuel will be fine.
Alright.
But yes. I'll bring it up.
In
so
any
you
event,
keep your eye on it as we go.
Oh yes, there's still lots there. But so it was really good. I recommend going along to see it. Lots of like old school consoles all set up. They had, you know, lots of more modern stuff as well. GoldenEye 64, the game of our childhood. I schooled one of my co-workers on that. Loaded that up. Showed them how it was done. Even though what I found is a lot of the controllers that they've got there are clearly very well used.
I'm going to come around here again.
Right. Like the N64 controller that I was using, like the control stick on it was just so loose. Lots of arcade cabinets, original arcade cabinets from like Space Invaders, the original Star Wars onwards. All free play as well, obviously. You just go in there and pick them up and mess around with them. So yeah, definitely worth playing around with. Ideally probably before the kids break up from school for the summer.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be pretty busy once they come around.
Aye. So when we were there, we were playing with it over lunch, and there was like kids from one of the local schools were coming in to play with it. And it's like, can you go back to school, please? I want to play my games.
Men here playing games.
But really good. Really enjoyed it. Because, you know, I'm not like an expert on like sort of retroware and all the school stuff, but a lot of it's lived experience. Had a massive Pong setup which projects on like a 15-foot wide screen so people can watch you play Pong.
We're probably a bit young for Pong, to be fair.
I remember messing around with it. I think there was like a grandstand set, like a grandstand Pong set, one of the later edition ones that I had when I was a kid, possibly at my grandma and granddad's house.
Remember our mate Craig had some game where you were on a space station fighting aliens and you had to use a control, I think it was on the Amiga, you had to go to control panels to save your game and to access various functions, but while you were there you could play Pong.
Oh, right.
But the game was still going on while you were doing it. So you could be playing Pong and the next thing you know, an alien comes and eats your face off.
There was a game called Defcon that I had on the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, that was like that, but I think it was Asteroids, not Pong. But the same idea, it's like you were jumping between these different terminals as aliens were trying to attack this this sort of mining facility that you were on, and it had like bits of FMV as a lot of those games did, but really, really good. But it was the same thing. You were trying to do stuff in this computer console, and then you just hear this like thwack, and it's like, yeah, the alien is now eating you. These aliens are getting on board your ship. But Defcon really, really that like sense of dread. I remember playing it probably when I was, how old was I when like PlayStation 1 came out? Probably like 12, 13 at the time, maybe a touch younger.
Our situation is nominal.
Good. That's what I like to hear. You know, Walker, we don't have a problem.
So
oof, that's good.
We're just gonna mess around, see if we can find ourselves a decent intercept point from this. It'll probably be a bit better off if we push out and make contact with it, and then plan our intercept from around here.
Aye.
So that is what I will do. Carry on.
Ladies and gents, I'm sure, like me, you fully expect nearly every one of these episodes to be a fresh insult to the game of Kerbal Space Program. You expect horrible things to happen. And you know what? I think you're going to be disappointed this time, but for the best possible reason.
We have left Merg there, just floating around in the darkness of space.
Random white coat when you're trying to save 2 red uns and all the science. That hardly counts. Can't make an omelette without breaking wind.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it's a sacrifice that needed to be made, really. It's not really a sacrifice. All that's going to happen is that Merg's going to be there for a few days, maybe a year or 2. In a spacesuit, wallowing in her own filth. I presume Kerbal's defecate. With no food or water and very little oxygen. But, you know, she'll hold her breath and lose some pounds.
If she survives, she's worth saving. At some point, when we get around to it.
Alright, so here we go. Let's see if we can... I forget which way round we're coming, actually.
Speed up a touch if needs be, and fast forward.
Just see which way around we are orbiting. In fact, where is our ship? That's our ship. So we're coming around northbound.
Okay, so it's kind of on the other side, almost exactly.
First I'm going to warp here, because in order to preserve fuel, I would rather do a couple of orbits and find a point where...
a bit closer.
It's actually, because it is going to adjust as we go.
There we go. Round and round and round.
And we'll do another one. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm bringing that closer to this point, and then when that gets closer to this point, we'll do our intercept.
We've got dotted lines, we've got solid lines, we've got grey lines, we've got coloured lines, we've got little spinny things, we've got a person, we've got some ships. That's cool as.
It's starting to get a little crowded around Kerbal, isn't it?
Aye, we're going to have to tactically destroy some of these things, I think.
Well, actually, we can get rid of that one that's zipping around there, because that's the old craft. The first time that we attempted to do this, that's just completely
waste junk.
That's coming around very slowly, isn't it?
Merg will be sick of her life now. Look at her. Round she goes.
It's probably been days at this point of zipping around. I know it probably feels like that.
3
to our
days.
audience.
3 days according to the mission clock. We're slowly catching it up, sort of. Hugging the inside line.
I got out. Oh!
Oh! There it is! There we go! That'll do it! Do something!
It's going flibbity-jibbity to hell, isn't it?
I'm still not very good at these intersect things. I don't fully understand what's
You know what?
going on.
I'm not ideal at them, but I seem to be able to make it work. Right, so we're going to need to... How far away are we there? 340... It's doable, you know, 340 kilometres. I'd prefer to be closer. 350... 359. Let's try. What happens if we were to
do something here?
Do something here.
That's good science.
Precise science.
Aye.
See, they're getting further away, so presumably if we do that, they get closer together. They're going all
screwy again.
They are. They're going like well screwy.
That doesn't do it. Ooh.
Why are they going so screwy? I mean, I really don't want to push it out that much because that's just obscene.
Yeah.
Maybe if we switch to another ship and then switch back, it will be less screwy. I don't know. What's this shit? That's nothing. So where are we? 2-man explorer, 2-man rescue. Switch to. We're actually quite close to it already. Cannot switch to another vessel.
Engine must be on for this one.
We're not under acceleration.
It's not time acceleration. No.
Look at that, just wobbling around like a biatch. Something's gone. Oh, it's because that's the broken one, you see.
Yeah, yeah. Now you can see. Now you can see why that didn't work.
I thought that was out of fuel, to be perfectly honest with you. So it doesn't seem to be wanting to let us go from this one, so we're gonna have to go to the Space Center and go back. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of dicking around. I hope I'm gonna make it worth your while.
Right.
It's been 6 days.
Right. That means we lost 3 days in that little spasm of speed that you applied.
Yeah, it kind of went a bit crazy, didn't it?
Right. Still jumping around with the dot.
It's still spasming, but we've got 350. Maybe move it really close.
That stops them. That's quite close. No, it's not.
It's still the same distance away, really. Did we go through it and come out the other side?
For some reason, we can't seem to get it under 340. It's very odd. You need to do something that's going to give us a fit the way it's gone on. 334 then. 24. That's it. 26. Oh, and then that's a bit closer with that one.
There we go.
Oof.
That's what we needed to do.
109.
There about a bit.
I think that's good.
Did I just burn anti-normal for a second there?
Yeah, I think...
10 kilometres. There we go. Lovely jubbly.
Oosh.
10 kilometres.
Oh.
And it doesn't look like it's going to be a huge amount of delta V needed to get that.
Oh, I wouldn't think so. 30 metres a second, that's an out. We can do that. I was still going to have enough fuel to do this and then get close to them and then come home again.
We're going to use the mono propellant to get close to them.
Oh, of course, we've got RCS.
Yep, that's why this ship's got RCS. That's why I don't have the RCS on.
You know what?
I'm preserving it.
You've thought of everything. You know what? Hats off to you. I know several episodes ago we nearly destroyed the channel and each other, or at least I nearly murdered you. I do apologise for that. I'll listen to that video back and I was cringing so badly. If any of my viewers have watched that one, I'm really sorry, because you know what? I was pissed, but actually it sounded like really pissed, like venomously pissed.
I was a little bit scared.
Yeah, I was scared of listening to myself on the VT back.
There we go, 15 kilometres away. We're going to warp over to there.
Nice. But yeah, that was very unreasonable of us. I was pissed. I've got to sometimes remember it is just a game at the end of the day. I let emotions get carried away. So formal apologies. I think I've done that twice or thrice now, but I still feel a bit guilty.
It was a bit of a disaster.
It was.
It was in fact the mission they've got Jeb and Bob stuck in space.
Exactly.
And it's because you said to me, we don't have enough fuel for this. And I went, it'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, where's my target, incidentally? Let's just take
There you are.
It's 16k away. See if we can bleed off some of that speed. But perhaps burn apoapsis instead of pro laps.
So we're going like about 20 metres a second towards
burn retrograde. So we'll kill off that relative velocity.
Alright, and then we're going to just edge ourselves towards with the RCS.
Absolutely. I mean, we're within a stone's throw. I could probably
jetpack
jetpack them over from there.
But yeah, it'd be nice if we can get them close.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Aye. Right.
I want to get within visual distance of that ship.
Is it twanging about because it's not very precise? Or is
It's
that
twanging
wobble
about
from the
because
rocket?
we're going so slow that the tiniest adjustment, even turning around, makes a difference.
So now we're pointing towards them.
What I'll actually do is I'll give a little quick initial thrust with that, and then we'll ride that forward a little bit.
Cool, yep, you can see there, just ticking along.
So just popping the time warp up.
Speed slowly creeping up.
Then
That's
it will
what
do.
you'd expect, of
But
course.
it's only 10 metres a second. We can kill that off in no time simply with mono propellant.
Newtonian physics. Nothing's going to stop with, and since we've given that little bit of a push, it's just going to keep going. Very nice. Well, there's next to nothing to stop it anyway. I think it's something like 1 molecule per square metre in space. The rest of it's just nout.
So we're sort of drifting off now. Ooh, lock the stage, just in case I do something
Yeah,
stupid.
don't eject the engine.
I'm going to nip into docking mode, so I've got more control using the RCS, which I will now turn on. I'm going to kill our relative velocity again. just so I can get us pointing towards it properly.
We've got
so I'm pointing prograde, but I'm pushing backwards to slow us down.
And there's enough RCS to do all this with it?
This thing's built with far more RCS than it needs. Bearing in mind we used it during the launch quite a bit to keep stability.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Oh, I mean, well, lovely and close there. Lovely and close.
So I'll push it out again, maybe go up to 5 meters a second.
Slowly creeping up, straight towards it.
And then just warp time a bit to get us a bit closer.
I find sometimes the difference between doing some of the orbital mechanics and doing some of the manoeuvring mechanics, I find very hard to separate in my head. Like, I'm always worried about what are we doing here and how's that affecting the actual, like, the orbital mechanics.
If we match our relative velocity to this 2-man explorer, then we will be in exactly the same orbit as it.
Aye. Oh, I see.
But I mean, look, check it out. You can almost
perfect.
Touch it. Reach out and touch it.
Well, we will, or they'll reach out and touch us.
So in 3 or 4 episodes time, I can confidently say when we're building space stations, we'll be able to dock with them.
Loving it. Absolutely loving it, mate.
Here we go. What I'm going to do is just point the nose of this ship towards that, so that I don't get the guys lost and not know where they're going.
Hop out and make a jump. Oh, Bob is head banging in anticipation. He cannot wait.
Let's take him out first. Is there any science in there that needs to be picked up before we go?
I think we brought it all back with we, didn't we?
So, oh no, there's a goo canister there. What's that got on it? Review data. That's got space high over the sun.
Right.
Oops, I just reset the experiment.
Never mind. Very, very silly. But get out. Bring the science back.
What about? Have we got a thermometer on here somewhere? If we do, where will that be tucked away?
I would have thought we would have brought a thermometer.
You would bloody think so.
Oh, there
they are. So, toggle display. I'm just seeing if any of them's got any data on them because I don't want to leave anything behind.
Review data. That one's got
something. So that's the bottom one. So Bob will pick that up on his way out.
Bottom left. That's it. Stretch your legs, Bob.
And you put your light on, Bob, so we can see.
Right. Bottom left. I think it's that one that you just illuminated at the bottom. Or was it bottom right? It was that one. It just popped up there.
That one?
Nah, other one. That's the one. Oh no.
Alright, we'll need to get a bit closer.
Closer.
You need to get very close.
Take
data. And off you go, matey.
So where's all the other science then? Was that in James' cockpit?
No, they'll... Oh, God, yeah. Take it from the cockpit, Bob. What are you doing? Don't forget the science. If you
forget the science, no service. You're not coming home.
So he was in this one, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. James obviously got to be
in the front. Data. There we go.
Cool.
We'll get anything from these.
You might as well.
Oh, yeah, I might as well. Might as well bring it home. Oh, wicked!
Nice. That definitely worth the double check.
I don't know why I bothered restoring the experiment because we're going to scrap this ship.
But completeness sake. Well done.
Right, off you go, mate.
Right,
to salvation.
Just don't dash his brains all over the ship. Whatever you do. We didn't do anything with the fairing on this thing. It's a shame. I like seeing the fairings come apart.
I could pop it off if you want.
Let's get them both in first, and then we'll worry about fairings. Maybe as a nice celebration once they land, they can pop the fairing once on the ground.
Hey, cool. So all of that's now being transferred there.
All that science belongs to us again.
Since we had data from the other experiments, let's see if there's anything we can get from the thermometer. No, I suspected as much.
Aye, I've done that a few times.
Right, let's get Jay about. Is there no science in Jeb's capsule?
Makes sense. Bob would have kept his hold, kept a hold of it.
I just thought they both had some.
Ah well, don't worry, Jeb. You're the darling of the space program. You can come back. Poster boy.
You know, we can pop that off. There's nothing under there bar the
we'll pop
the
it
probe
off.
core.
When we land, we'll pop it off.
Okay.
As a celebrate. That's where celebratory finale. When we touch down in one piece, that pops off, then everybody cheers. And we're expecting the viewers at home to cheer. If you don't cheer, we'll know. We'll know, and we'll find you. And we'll Liam Neeson you in next week.
Righto, I'm ready to bring this back if you are, bro.
Do it!
Right, let's unset the target. We don't need that anymore.
Bring us
into
Daffodil
a
Chrome.
smooth. How much of blade do I have? 200.
It's a small one, so we'll get.
We'll bring it into a smooth 33,000 kilometers.
Nice.
To do our little air brake.
Probably a bit more.
No, 33,000 is fine. I did one the other day. I came in from Minmus and did 30,000.
Bit sharp.
I did have 800 ablator on that particular ship though. You know what? Why am I bothering doing that? It'll be easier to just keep my eye on it.
Just slow it down.
And we've got plenty of fuel to do this burn. It's going to be a relatively small burn in terms of the.
Yeah, we've got quite a bit of fuel left. Right, this has been really done. You've thought about this. You've planned it out. You've done the book reading, and then we've done the thing.
I've done the book reading. You know, I've ran sort of practice missions with similar ships, trying to do similar things. Messed around with inclinations. All of that sort of shizness.
You know what? It's turned into, I feel a bit like a Soviet commissar. Like, you're doing everything and I'm just sitting here with a pistol, just on the off chance.
You're here for the banter, mate. You're better at the banter than me.
I've got my moments.
When I'm silent and concentrating on the task at hand, you're keeping people entertained with nonsense stories.
Verbal diarrhea pouring into your ears.
Ew, what a horrible mental image I've just got.
Aye.
It wasn't verbal.
But, aye. No, very pleased with this. This is our first recording session of the day. We've got to do a few more because I'm going on my holidays in the back end of July.
You are. We're going to have to make the most of the science that we bring back.
We will do. So, providing everything goes according to plan here, we've got ideas what we're going to do in the next ones. But next couple of episodes at least are all going to be recorded straight off the back of this one. But I'm sure when you watch the next one next week, I'll explain that then as well.
Not that they care.
General principles. I'm engaging our audience. I'm trying to engage our audience, and you're just pissing on the bonfire of engagement. This is what's happening here.
Kerbal. So we're bringing the boys home.
Ship's got a bit wibbly shadow action going on. I'm not a big fan of that.
Well, we're just about ready to ditch this whole bottom stage.
We're definitely going to come home. That burn's done. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
That burn's done. Look, we've got a periapsis of 30,000.
Sometimes I look at the microphone and pretend it's our audience, and that's exactly what I was doing there when I was talking about engagement.
You know what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring it up a little bit because I'm a little uncomfortable with 30,000, even though I know it's safe.
Right, caution, sense and caution is good space.
So 32.5, I think. So that'll do.
Right.
And now I'll ditch this section.
Alright.
Oh, look, I'm pressing space and nothing's happening. It's safe.
I wish I had a panic button that just was basically bound.
Just remember,
to
every time, once we've finished using all the stages that we need to use for the orbit, just say, lock your stages. Ewok, lock your stages.
I'll never remember that. My concern is one day you'll lock the stages and then we'll try and do like a low altitude parachute burn.
If you look at the left hand side and see the current stages that are left, there's 2 parachute stage. Yeah. That's just in case I panic and shoot the parachutes off too early. Yeah. There's a spare set of parachutes.
You've done it before. Mind, really what we need is like about 4 or 5 dummy stages in between those 2 layers of parachutes, because when you hit that space bar, it's not just one tap. You give it one of these. I've seen you. Like a young boy fapping is what happens when you're hitting that. You know what? That space bar.
Let's take an AVA report here.
Why?
Never mind. Because we've never done a polar orbit before, so if we're still in atmosphere by the time we get over the pole, we'll do an AVA report. We'll get an extra few signs.
What? In atmosphere?
In atmosphere, yeah.
With one of the red coats?
If we're still out of atmosphere, what I mean is.
Well above atmosphere.
If we're still well above atmosphere, or
Right.
you know, above 60,000.
No, we're not doing that. No, that's not a thing.
But look, they'll be there any second now. It'll be fine. You can do upper atmosphere. You can do upper atmosphere safely.
It's creeping down.
EVA report from upper atmosphere. It says this is getting precarious. You can do it. It's fine. Everyone will be fine.
I'm not a fan.
Look, we're about to come over the poles. Do you want to waste that opportunity to get what, like 12 signs?
It's only 3,000 feet above hitting atmosphere. Less now. Better be quick.
No, they can do it. The atmosphere is so thin.
I'm shaking my head. He's getting warm. He's getting warm.
You see, he did it. He did it.
He was getting warm.
But I've done it.
Did that actually give anything though?
Yes, we've got like 30 odd signs for it.
All right. Okay then. I did just see a little heat bar up here.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Is that normal?
Probably not.
He's kind of somehow you've came back from space with a tan.
Yeah, I saw it as well.
Yeah.
I had a moment of panic. I thought he might die.
Who was that? Bob or was that Jeb?
It was Bob.
I mean, it's not the worst thing. That what?
That's just the goo canisters. Don't worry, the goo canisters.
What's that?
That's the back end of the ship.
Get that the fuck away from our ship.
Whew. It's the goo canisters, and it's okay if they blow up.
It was
We
quite
don't
nice
need them.
seeing that passing by, mind.
It
Although,
was. And we've never seen the pole since we rebooted Geordie Space Program for this season.
was it one of the abandoned or was it Next Generation? We went to the poles.
One of them we got to the poles, but we've never even seen the poles from this close.
Have we not landed on them? I'm sure we didn't.
No,
we put
I mean
something-
in this season.
Oh yes, yeah, it would be nowhere near them. That
No.
was the whole problem.
We haven't
Okay.
done much of the gathering science from around Kerbal.
I'm interested to see how this new like heat radiation system works because I haven't really paid that much attention to it.
There was a lot of reports of people being pretty miffed because they introduced this new heat radiation and then everyone had space stations that they'd pre-built and they just started exploding.
Well, they would.
Solar panels pick up a lot of heat.
Aye.
So when you've
you
got
need
a lot,
the radiators there.
So when you've got a lot of solar panels out, you need the radiators there to offset that.
You ever touched a solar panel sitting in full sunshine?
Yeah, it
Bloody
gets
hot.
It gets
Aye,
bloody warm.
very hot, and
Well,
that's
anything
even
like that
here.
does. My car gets pretty warm sitting in full sunshine, and my car is significantly below the level of space.
Once, my parents with my auntie and my uncle were out in Greece where my mum and dad live, and it was so hot.
What, there it is again, look, it's shooting by at the bottom of the screen.
It was so hot. My uncle came out. You'll know the uncle, and he said, "You know what? So hot out here, you could probably fry an egg." So he went into the house and got an egg, and then cracked it on the tiles. And here's my dad comes out, and there's my auntie
was it
and my
just an
mum
eggy mess
and my
everywhere?
uncle just staring at a cracked egg on the tiles, doing nothing.
That your Uncle G?
Ah, it is. As you can imagine, there's only one person in my family that could be. My dad came out and just went, "You bunch of fucking sad sacks. Have you seen the clip of what you're doing? 3, you're staring at an egg on a tile." But yeah, needless to say, it turns out you can't cook an egg on tiles, even if they're quite dark. But you probably could on a solar panel. Maybe even in... Can you fry an egg in space on a solar panel?
I have no idea.
Probably could. If you could somehow mush it, you'd need to... It's probably more holding the egg against the solar panel itself would be the hard part.
So the question you're asking is, can you cook in a vacuum? Well, I imagine you can.
It's probably just a case of trying to keep the thing on the heat source.
Well, the idea is that the space is very cold.
Yeah.
It's pretty much as cold as you can get.
Pretty
but
much.
if something in space starts to heat up, because there's no oxygen around it, there's nothing for the heat to dissipate into. So it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter.
Aye. So don't boil sugar in space because
Otherwise-
sugar's really hot on the planet.
Yeah. And you'll end up
When you boil
with permanent irreversible caramelitis.
Hang on though. What about convection? Is that a thing in space?
Well, not really, because there's nothing there.
Oh yeah, convection's more like the passage of air, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, I'll shut up. We're coming back.
We are coming back.
That was nice.
Yeah, we're coming back. Well, unfortunately, it's on the dark side, but I think it's going to take me a long time to start working out how to pick a landing spot now that we really have to do sort of atmospheric braking,
Yeah.
rather than just shooting straight down where you want to land.
Aye.
But
sure
once we get to below 250 meters a second, we can deploy the parachutes.
So something is still hot there. Just slowly
Cooling down.
Oh, is that the parachutes?
Yeah, it's just one of the parachutes.
One of the parachutes is a bit warm.
But it's fine because we've got.
Oh, even the fabric of the parachute glows in the dark. This is safe space.
But this is why I had backups.
Aye, that's very
An entire
sensible.
backup system.
And so we can see the ones at the top end haven't been close to the pointy end coming in, or the flat end coming in, so they're not as hot. Do you think the RCS tanks on the side have maybe like absorbed some of the heat and stopped the parachutes getting hot at the top end?
Very possibly. It was.
The heat.
It's probably more likely that my angle was just slightly off when I was coming in, but not to the extent that it's made too much of a difference. Let's get the second pair of parachutes out. Do you want to fire off that, or do you want to wait till we're in the water?
You know what?
They're pretty safe now.
Fuck it. Do it now.
Woo!
Look at that! What a spectacular!
And there you go. There's the probe core that made Merg totally superfluous to the entire operation.
Yeah, Merg, this is your replacement. It's called Beep Boop Beep.
Oh, there's land over there.
I'm really, really happy. This has been very good.
So Bob and Jeb are back.
They're back with a shed load of signs. A Geordie shed load of signs. Some would say an allotment full of signs.
Looking forward to seeing exactly how much science they've brought.
There was a lot there. We did get a lot.
We'll drop them off and we'll go to the space centre just on the tiniest off chance that there's a mission recover science from solar orbit.
Clever.
I did that the other day. I was having a little practice and I was at the Minmus and did a flyby in Minmus.
Aye.
And then came and landed. And then I thought, that mission took days. Let's see what missions are available in the space centre. Bring back signs from space around Minmus. So I just took it, got an extra 50 grand for nothing. All because Jeb was sitting on a mountain.
You cheated your sponsors as well. And then you're like, oh, it's going to be tough.
We'll need
a lot of extra funding to be able to do that. That's going to be sick. Oh, I found it. Here you go. 50 grand, please.
Turns out we had some all along.
Suckers. And it's alive. Well, that's a high five.
Right, quickly nip the space centre. Just on the off chance, it's unlikely, but if it's free money, we're going to have to take it off.
Aye. Well, it gives you an idea of just having a look and sussing out.
I've seen a couple of new mission types popping up lately. I saw one that was recover a craft from a stable orbit around Minmus, and there wasn't like a craft there you had to get. You just had to have a craft in orbit around Minmus and then bring it back home.
Oh, so it's actually really encouraging.
That was actually the mission that I went to go to Minmus that I ended up bringing the science back. No, there's there's nothing there. Plant flag on Minmus.
Might come in handy next time.
Position satellite and then we're taking position satellite.
Well, that gives you a bit of a clue as to what we're planning next.
So, it gives you a very good clue of what we're planning next. Land on Minmus.
Science data from surface. Well, we're planning on putting something around, aren't we, maybe? Rather than...
Don't give the game away.
Like, we haven't just taken the contract that we're going to do next.
Right, 2-man rescue, splashdown. Bring it back.
We don't want to fly. Oh, yeah. Recover, I thought you had fly.
161.8 science.
That's pretty nice.
To the bank. We've got a total of 324. We've got Kerbal water, high over the sun, temperature, mystery goo, high over the sun, materials, high over the sun, EVA, high over the sun, crew report, high over the sun, material study over Kerbal, mystery goo in space over Kerbal, EVA report just over Kerbal's water, EVA report from Kerbal's upper atmosphere, and recovery of a vessel from Kerbal orbit.
Not bad.
Lovely. And we'll get £4,000 back. Advanced to level 2.
Nice.
So we've got a level 2 scientist and a level 2 pilot.
They've been studying. They've been listening to the audio books on tape about space science.
It's entirely worth Merg being in orbit. We can scrap the ship that went to rescue them.
Yep.
Don't need that anymore. We can scrap the old ship that we went to pick them up in.
We can't. What's the thing going around all Polary? What's that?
That's an orbital craft. I believe it's deserted. I think it's from a little while back. I think we did a rescue mission out of this. I think somebody got stuck in this and we did a rescue mission.
Oh, wasn't that when we... That was Penny Creon's own ship before Valentina saved her and they died.
We can scrap that as well, do a little bit of housekeeping.
Nice. Right, clear those lanes off the
We've still got somebody on the Mun, haven't we?
Probably.
Yeah, I think... Let's just quickly zoom out.
Probably in the crap Mun land.
In the crap Mun land.
If I had to guess, it's probably fulfilling its thing. Yeah, there's stuff going on there.
Yeah, we tried to do a moon landing before we were ready for
people
it.
have watched this. Hopefully people are whooping and hollering at that fantastic display of Kerbalness. Let's have a quick look at the science, see what we can get, and then we'll wrap this one up.
Quick look at the science. So that's 90, that's 90, that's 45. We can't get any of these, so it's a no-brainer, isn't it? They're all blocked off because we don't have enough to upgrade the science centre yet.
Aye.
So we've got 99.5 science, and we've maxed out the tree that's currently available to us.
So that means we need probably 400 and odd grand to be able to get the next level, plus a margin to buy ships
plus a margin to balance.
Allow for failure.
So contracts is the way forward. We're on a money-making mission for the next episode, maybe even 2 episodes. We'll see how it goes.
Aye, let's. It's the road to 500 grand.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching Geordie Space Program. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Sorry for all that fanning around in the middle where things got a bit muddled. But we got there in the end. We brought the boys back home. We left Merg in space. Join us again next week for another episode. Like us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, do all those things.
All the social things. We're there. Just do the social things with us. We crave attention.
Yeah, it's not even just about Geordie Space Program. Every now and again, Gonzo goes and posts a stupid meme or a picture of Thomas the Tank Engine on crack.
The last one was Terminator Genesis. Did you see that?
I saw that one.
That's fucking class
fantastic. Head over to Gonzo Ewok on Facebook to see Terminator Genesis.
Yeah, not the film before we get sued. Okay, thank you very much for watching. We fucking love you. Goodbye.